Yeah, man. I mean, we kind of have to have our eyes on Twitter. John, we weren't even supposed to be here today. I'm supposed to be catching up on Euphoria, eating this chicken nuggies, and I'm pretty sure you're stuttering to be, a doctor pretty soon. You're saving lives.
Trying
We
my
just
best to.
got news that Lovie Smith is now a finalist, maybe the leading candidate to be the next Houston Texans head coach. Thank God it's not Josh McCown. Josh McCown to me, we had this conversation even last night. Like, I would be mad. I wouldn't know what to do. If they hired him, I would have, damn near quit. But it's Lovie Smith. This is another bridge coach to me. Um, Maybe they bring back Josh McCown. I mean, it kind of feels like it does. But how do you feel about the overall news on Lovey, man?
I mean, I can't even say I'm excited that it's not Josh McCown because it feels like this is Josh McCown. I mean, Lovie Smith is 63 years old. It's heavily rumored. I think it might even have been officially reported that he turned down the opportunity to be the head coach a year ago, and that's why David Culley was brought in, and we kind of already had his staff in place that included Lovie Smith. Uh, this really feels like you hire Lovie so that you don't have to change the defense. You can bring in Josh McCown, and in a year or two, Lovey says, "I'm retiring." He gets paid a ton of money to coach, and then you elevate McCown. It's political. Like this is a good way to onboard him, and it doesn't feel like. I mean, I'm sure you've heard when we talk about Casario, general managers generally get two hires, and it feels like this is a way to extend into a third by virtue. That's my initial reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all pretty still, in shock. And if you look at my eyes, I'm looking at my phone, or John is, we're constantly looking at Twitter because we don't know what the hell is going to happen in the next couple minutes. It was shocking because Lovie Smith was never in, we never heard he was in consideration. Apparently he was the whole time, according to, to Wilson, but how do we,
I
really
do
know
not
about
believe
that?
that. I do
Yeah.
not believe that for a second. I
And,
mean, look at who they I mean, look at who they interviewed. They were interviewing a host of younger candidates, different coordinators around the league. I mean, everyone was talking about Nick Casario mentioned like he wants to find the next Mike
Mike Tomlin.
Tomlin. This is not the next Mike Tomlin. This really feels like they could not get the agreement they wanted with Jonathan Gannon, and I don't know what's going on with Brian Flores. I'd love to have him here. He's been my number one candidate since the hour we fired David Culley, but I don't expect Brian Flores to be here. Frankly, I think it's disrespectful they're still throwing his name out there. It feels like it's kind of been Josh McCown or another candidate for the past week, and I don't know. I expect Lovie Smith to be hired tomorrow.
I feel disrespected hearing Josh McCown's name as someone who could lead my franchise. Bro, I've been watching these people since damn near 2002. And you're going to put someone in who damn near doesn't have any coaching experience besides high school. But we're not talking about Josh McCown because thank God we dodged a bullet. He, apparently he's not going to hire him as head coach. The way they worded it, though, Houston Texans will not hire Josh McCown as head coach. Obviously means they're going to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you think Levy brings to this team?
I mean, one of the most disappointing parts is I think it puts us on the same direction as last year, which was I don't think there was some good individual player development here and there. We saw young guys like Jonathan Gennard and obviously Davis Mills, on just to name two guys, take big step forwards. But I felt that organizationally, from a coaching standpoint, we weren't moving anywhere. And one of the most exciting parts about firing David Coley and moving on to find a new coach was that we could find someone who could establish a direction, give us a competitive advantage. Well, it really feels like we're going to be running it back with basically the same team. It's going to be the same defense here. I don't expect Lovie Smith to be here for very long. I'm looking at Twitter right now. People are excited about it compared to McCown, but I think our defense, I don't think the perception is accurate for what it actually was. We were 31st against the run, 22nd against the pass. We forced a ton of turnovers. I think we forced 25 turnovers, and that made it look better than it was. But the thing with turnovers is it's not a stat that holds from year to year. Turnovers are very fickle, and I think we're due for a lot of negative regression in that category. So, what's that defense going to? I mean, Obviously, we've got some cap space now. I think we're looking at about $40 million plus. When we get Tunsil off the books, once we get Watson off the books, we're going to have some money to play with. And at 3, I expect the pick to be Kyle Hamilton or Kayvon Thibodeau, and that's going to help a lot. In addition to the second rounder, 2 third rounders, hopefully we can help the secondary. But I'm just not very excited by a Lovie Smith hire.
No, to me, it it feels like Nick Cassero just wasn't ready to make a decision yet. It just he just said, you know what, I can't really put all my faith in Josh McCown just yet. He chooses the bridge coach of I'm sorry, of, well, potentially Lovie Smith, which we don't even know, honestly. And that's the scary thing, because we could honestly, in the next 20 minutes here, oh, now Houston Texans, are still talking to Kevin O'Connell. You know, we don't know yet what's going to happen, with this
Mm-hmm.
Houston Texans team. But for right now, it's Lovie Smith. I'm fine that it's not Josh McCown. But like you said, it puts us in the same situation that we are, last year. Lovie Smith is not going to be here for the long term. Who knows what happened with Pep Hamilton? If you are going to bring in Josh McCown, um, and what role does he come in, as a QB coach, as the OC? And I hate that we have to talk about Josh McCown. After I said let's not talk about him, but like you said it, John, it kind of looks like they're building this team up for him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've essentially created an onboarding scenario for McCown where, okay, we can't hire him right now, but I mean, he sounds like their guy. They don't leak to this many media members that we will not be hiring Josh McCown if it did not become so obvious their infatuation with this 18-year backup quarterback. And I mean, I hate to say it, if the Brian Flores lawsuit doesn't come out this week, I think they probably would have hired Josh McCown, just straight up. I mean, assuming Lovey's the hire and he's brought on staff, but I mean, I think the optics have become such that you absolutely could not bring on McCown right now. But if Lovey's used as a bridge coach, which I think we both believe he will be, it's like a soft onboarding where he gets 2 years as the offensive coordinator. And I hate that because if Lovey knows he's not there, like he's not the long term solution there, there's not a lot of incentive to like this year we didn't care about wins and losses, and you could tell the coaching staff, as much as they talked about how they cared, it didn't seem like it really mattered. And I'm kind of worried that we're in for another year of that.
Oh yeah, no. N- Now that it's kind of looking like it's Lovie Smith, not expecting anything, from the Houston Texans next season, which is kind of sad because I wanted us to get a Jonathan Gannon, or hopefully by some way or another still end up with Brian Flores. Then I'm all systems go. I'm ready, for week 1. Now we have to start worrying about the staff. We got to start worrying about Davis Mills. Who does he bring in as DC? Does he elevate someone? Does he elevate his son, to defensive coordinator, knowing that he is still there? A lot of questions come into play. It's very frustrating. And what's more frustrating to me is Davis Mills. I am a Davis Mills supporter. Shout out to Mills Millie. Someone needs to develop this guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any hope of having a franchise QB, which this is a crazy situation, you just lost one and now you could potentially find another one. You need to start bringing people into development. And I'm sorry, Josh McCown, 18 years, doesn't do that. He talked about having a West Coast hybrid offense. Can we even trust he could run an offensive game plan?
I mean, we have no idea what to expect from McCown other than, I mean, he's obviously very knowledgeable about the game. He's been around football a long time. He must have crushed these interviews, whatever that means. I mean, people have been talking about him as a potential future coach for the back end of his career. Everyone kind of expected this. It's just nobody expected him to have this kind of momentum to make the vertical leap. And I agree, it really is putting Davis Mills, who does need some support, and he could really be a quality NFL starting quarterback. I think he's going to need more structure than our former franchise quarterback might have needed to succeed. And now I'm not sure if this is the coaching staff that's really, because it's we're not going to fix the personnel around Davis Mills in one season. Like that offensive line's not going to become elite overnight. I mean, you add another receiver to that room, and if Nico takes a step forward, I think that could help a lot. You can fix some things, but you're not going to put the perfect roster around him. You really need to help him win schematically to win up here. And I don't know what kind of scheme or what to expect from Josh McCown to help him do that.
Do you think Nick Casario panicked?
I don't think he panicked. I think that their number one option was Jonathan Gannon, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. Maybe Gannon got impatient and didn't want to wait because I mean, every day is an opportunity where you need to be recruiting your staff, and when you're not doing it, I mean, we're watching right
Someone
now.
else is.
Yeah, like the Giants, the Bears, everyone who's hired head coaches, they're starting to put full staffs together. I mean, because once you have coordinators, then you can start attacking position coaches. And he was going to
Yeah.
be at such a disadvantage of how long we're waiting. So maybe he said no. Maybe I mean, and something that's really weird, and I don't know if our fan base realizes how odd it is with the way I see him talk about it, but it's not usual to have a general manager who's trying to force staff onto a head coaching candidate. Generally, your head coaching candidate's going to pick his coordinators, and that's something that if you're hiring him, you're hiring his vision. And it does look like Casario has some people that he wants in the building, so maybe it was a staff sticking point. So I'm not going to say that he panicked, but it really does feel like we missed out on our top options for them to report at 9:30 on a Sunday night that they're interviewing Lovie Smith, and I imagine we're going to get an announcement tomorrow that he's hired.
I'm expecting the announcement. John, thank you so much, for coming on. Definitely going to do this more. Definitely going to do this also when, hopefully, if Lovie Smith gets hired tomorrow, I'll have you come back on. I'm going to do some more research on Lovie because, like I said, man, this just sprung on us.
Oh, there's a
What?
tweet from us from Sarah Barship. She just said, if Lovie Smith is hired to be the Texans' next head coach, Pep Hamilton is expected to be Houston's offensive coordinator.
So Josh McCown's not even in the fucking conversation anymore.
Maybe not. Maybe everything we just said about McCown. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know who her sources are. I know she used to cover the team. I don't know if she's. I think she does. I think she's ESPN's reporter. But I mean, maybe McCown's quarterbacks coach. Maybe he's not involved at all. If he's not involved at all, I'll be even more confused
Y-
because what are we doing?
I don't freaking know. And more stuff is gonna come out. But John, your Twitter handle's there at Texans Doc.
Yes, that
Where
Texans.
else can we find you at?
Right now it's just at Texans Doc. Give me a follow. I've been writing. I was just at the Senior Bowl this past week. I'll be writing on draft prospects all spring here, and obviously covering this very interesting head coaching search that Houston has going on over at the Texans Wire.
Yes, sir. Speaking of the draft, we will be bringing you on much more. Excited for this one. A lot of things are gonna happen in the next couple of days, man. So appreciate it. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
I don't know if I'm excited